The auditorium was packed with over 300 cadets from across the galaxy. They filled every seat, their various forms creating a rainbow of colors and shapes. Some had scales, others had fur, and a few glowed softly in the dim light. All of them wore the gray uniform of the Galactic Military Academy, and all of them looked nervous. Han sat in the front row, his notebook open on his lap. He was smaller than most cadets in the room, with dark hair and brown eyes that watched everything carefully. Next to him sat his friend since childhood. She tapped her pen against her notebook, a habit she had when she was trying not to laugh. The lights dimmed further, and a large alien walked onto the stage. Commander X was standing nearly 3 meters tall with deep purple skin covered in battle scars. 3 of his forearms carried data tablets while the 4th gestured as he spoke. His voice was deep and serious. "Welcome to Survival Training Course 307, X began. This semester, we will study the most dangerous environments in known space. We will learn which planets to avoid, which can be survived with proper equipment, and which will kill you before you can call for help." The cadets shifted in their seats. Some looked excited, most looked worried. X touched his data tablet and a massive holographic display appeared behind him. It showed a star map with hundreds of planets marked in different colors. Green planets were safe. Yellow planets were challenging. Red planets were dangerous. And 12 planets were marked in black. "These," X said, pointing to the black markers, "are Class 12 death worlds. By order of the Galactic Council, no military operations are permitted on these planets. No colonies may be established. No mining or research stations allowed. These worlds are simply too deadly for civilized life." Han wrote this down carefully, drew a small star next to her notes. X zoomed in on one of the black markers. A blue and green planet appeared, spinning slowly in the holographic display. White clouds swirled across its surface. It looked almost peaceful. "This is Earth," X announced. Several cadets gasped. A few made religious gestures. One cadet in the back row actually fainted. "Earth," X continued, "is the most lethal planet ever by galactic explorers. It ranks first among all death worlds in terms of danger to visiting species." He pulled up a list of statistics, and the numbers made even the bravest cadets look sick. Earth's gravity is 40% higher than galactic standard. Most species experience bone stress within hours and complete skeletal failure within days. The atmospheric composition contains oxygen levels that are toxic to 60% of known species. The weather systems are catastrophically violent, with storms that can level entire cities. The planet experiences frequent volcanic eruptions and earthquakes due to unstable tectonic plates. X switched to images of Earth's wildlife: a bear, a crocodile, a great white shark, a tiger. The native predators evolved in this extreme environment. They hunt in coordinated packs with advanced problem-solving abilities. They have no fear of creatures their own size and will attack anything they perceive as prey or threat. More images appeared: microscopic bacteria, viruses, parasites. The microbial life is extremely aggressive. Visiting species require constant medical support to survive exposure. The planet's star emits radiation at levels considered hazardous for long-term exposure. The native plant life produces toxins and allergens that affect most galactic species. Kiva, a cadet sitting 3 rows back, raised one of her 6 arms. "Commander, has anyone ever survived on Earth with proper equipment?" X looked at her with something like respect. "Good question, Cadet Kiva. The answer is no. In the 40 years since Earth was discovered, we have attempted 3 survival challenges there. All failed within 72 hours. The longest anyone survived was 68 hours, and that cadet required 6 months of medical treatment afterward." "What about the natives?" another cadet asked. "The dominant species." "Humans," X said quietly. "They were the apex species. They evolved to survive everything I just described. They could breathe the toxic atmosphere, withstand the crushing gravity, and coexist with the predators. They were, by all measurements, the most physically resilient species ever encountered. Were asked softly. Were, X confirmed. First contact was 42 years ago. We brought standard greeting protocols, including gifts and medical supplies. Unfortunately, we also brought diseases. The human immune system, while adapted to Earth's aggressive microbes, had never encountered galactic viruses. Within a year, the human population was reduced by 98%. The survivors disappeared into their planet's wilderness. They are presumed extinct. The auditorium was silent. Even the cadets who had been whispering to each other stopped talking. Han kept his face neutral, but his pen stopped moving. Next to him, stared straight ahead. Let this be a lesson, X said. Death worlds are called that for a reason. They cannot be conquered. They cannot be colonized. They can only be avoided. No cadet has ever survived the Earth survival challenge, and no cadet ever will. Kiva raised her arm again. Commander, with respect, I believe proper training and equipment could allow survival on any planet, even Earth. Several cadets murmured agreement. Kiva was known as the top student in their class, scoring highest in combat training and survival skills. X smiled, but it was not a kind smile. Cadet Kiva, your species is from Prime, correct? Gravity at 70% of galactic standard, temperature range between 20 and 30 degrees, atmosphere composition nearly identical to standard. Yes, Commander. On Earth, the gravity alone would cause your cardiovascular system to fail within 72 hours. Your species processes oxygen at 52% efficiency. Earth's atmosphere would poison you within 48 hours. The temperature range on Earth goes from -40 to +50 degrees. You would need constant thermal regulation. Tell me, Cadet Kiva, how long do you believe you would survive? Kiva's confidence wavered. With proper equipment. Equipment fails, technology breaks. On Earth, equipment failure means death. This is not theory, Cadet. This is fact, written in the blood of those who tried and failed. The commander looked across the auditorium, his 4 eyes scanning the crowd. Are there any other questions? Han slowly raised his hand. Yes, Cadet Han. Commander, what if someone here was actually from Earth? What if a human was sitting in this room right now? The auditorium erupted in laughter. Even serious cadets smiled. The idea was absurd. Humans were extinct. Everyone knew that. X chuckled, a deep rumbling sound. Then, Cadet Han, that individual would be the most dangerous soldier in this entire academy by birthright. Their baseline physical capabilities would exceed most species' maximum potential. They would be naturally adapted to survive in conditions that would kill the rest of us. They would be, without any training at all, a warrior born from the galaxy's most hostile world. The commander's expression grew serious again. But since humans are extinct, that scenario is impossible. The question is theoretical only. Han nodded slowly and returned to his notes. Thank you, Commander. Just curious. As X continued his lecture, moving on to other death worlds, leaned slightly toward Han. She kept her eyes forward, but her voice was barely a whisper. Should we tell them? Han wrote something in his notebook and tilted it slightly so she could see. Not yet. Smiled and wrote her own response. This is going to be fun. In the front row of the auditorium, 2 humans listened to a lecture about how their home planet was unsurvivable, how their species was extinct, and how no one could possibly live through the challenges that they had faced every single day of their lives. And they said nothing. Not yet. 7 days after the Death World lecture, the entire academy gathered in the main hall. Commandant In stood at the podium, his crystalline form reflecting the lights in rainbow patterns. He was one of the most respected species in the galaxy, known for their wisdom and fair judgment. Cadets, his voice resonated through the hall like music. "I am here to announce this year's survival gauntlet." Excited whispers filled the room. The Survival Gauntlet was the Academy's most prestigious competition. Only the bravest cadets entered, and only one could win. The prize was immediate promotion and assignment to the Elite Guard, the most honored position in the galactic military. "This year," it continued, "we have chosen a location that will test every skill you have learned. You will face extreme conditions, hostile wildlife, and environmental challenges unlike anything you have experienced." The hall went silent. Every cadet leaned forward. "This year's Survival Gauntlet will take place on Earth." The silence shattered. Cadets jumped to their feet shouting. Some were angry, most were terrified. A few looked excited by the challenge, though their faces were pale. "That's suicide," someone yelled. "No one can survive there," another added. And raised one of his crystalline arms, and the hall quieted. "The challenge is voluntary. Any cadet who wishes to participate must register within 48 hours. You will be given the best equipment available. You will be monitored at all times. If you are in danger, you can activate your emergency beacon and be extracted immediately. But if you want to win, you must survive for 7 days." Han and sat quietly in their seats while chaos erupted around them. They looked at each other and nodded once. The decision was already made. By the registration deadline, only 12 cadets had volunteered. Most of the Academy thought they were insane. Kiva registered, determined to prove she was as good as she claimed. A massive warrior named registered, confident in his strength. A quick scout called registered, believing speed would save her. 9 others registered for various reasons, mostly pride. And Han and registered, though they told no one why they seemed so calm about it. The preparation took 3 days. Equipment Master Jin supervised the distribution of survival gear. He was a small, quiet man who rarely spoke, but everyone respected his expertise. He had been at the Academy for 20 years and knew more about survival equipment than anyone alive. Jin stood before the 12 cadets in the equipment bay, surrounded by massive suits that looked more like small vehicles than clothing. "These," Jin began, gesturing to the suits, "are Class 12 environmental protection systems. They are the most advanced survival suits ever created. Each one costs more than a small starship." He walked around one of the suits, pointing out features. "The exoskeleton will compensate for Earth's gravity, essentially making you feel like you are walking in standard conditions. The oxygen filtration system will reduce Earth's toxic oxygen levels to breathable concentrations. The thermal regulation will keep your body temperature stable regardless of external conditions. The kinetic barriers will protect you from physical attacks by native predators. The medical suite will monitor your health and provide emergency treatment if needed." Touched his suit with reverence. It was enormous, designed to support his 3-meter frame. "With this, Earth is survivable." "With this," Jin corrected, "Earth is theoretically survivable. The suits have been tested in simulations, but never on Earth itself. They might fail. If they do, you have approximately 30 seconds to activate your emergency beacon before the environment kills you." Kiva's 6 arms trembled slightly as she examined her suit. 30 seconds. "Earth is not forgiving," Jin said quietly. "Remember that." As the other cadets received detailed briefings on their equipment, Han and stood before their suits. They noticed something immediately. Their suits were different, smaller, less complex. "Master Jin," Han said quietly, "our suits appear to be missing some components." Jin glanced around to make sure no one else was listening. "Your suits have the communications equipment, emergency beacons, and basic protection. Everything else was deemed unnecessary for your specific physiology." "Our physiology?" asked innocently. Jin's expression didn't change, but his eyes showed understanding. "Some cadets require more support than others. Your medical files indicated you have already been cleared for standard gravity environments and standard atmospheric conditions. The full environmental systems would be redundant. Han and understood. Someone knew. Someone had known all along. How many others know? Han asked. Very few, Jin replied softly. And those who do are keeping your secret until you decide to reveal it. But Cadet, understand this. Your performance on Earth will reveal the truth whether you want it to or not. That night found Han on the observation deck. Through the massive windows, Earth was visible in the distance, a blue and green jewel hanging in the darkness of space. It looked beautiful, peaceful. Are you nervous? Asked, standing beside him. No, Han said. Are you? No, I'm excited. I haven't been home in 5 years. Han smiled. Same, I miss the rain, the forests, even the heat. They stood in comfortable silence, watching their spin slowly in space. They're all terrified, observed. Has been doing extra strength training. Kiva has been running simulation drills constantly, has barely slept studying Earth's geography. They're preparing to survive, Han said. We're just going home. When do you think they'll figure it out? Han considered this. Day 1, probably. The moment we step out of the transport and don't immediately collapse from the gravity. Laughed softly. This is going to change everything. Once they know humans still exist, once they see what we can do on our own world, they'll realize we've been hiding in plain sight. Are you ready for that? Han asked seriously. Looked at Earth, her expression thoughtful. My parents always told me that humans survived by adapting. We adapted to Earth's conditions over millions of years. Then we adapted to hiding among the galactic community. Maybe it's time to adapt again, to be ourselves. The galaxy might not be ready for that. Then they'll adapt too, said with a smile. We're good teachers. The next morning, the 12 cadets boarded the transport ship. The flight to Earth would take 6 hours. Most cadets spent the time checking their equipment repeatedly, meditated, preparing his mind for the ordeal ahead. Kiva ran through survival scenarios on her data pad, practiced quick movements in her bulky suit. Han and sat together playing a simple card game. They seemed relaxed, almost casual. The other cadets noticed and thought they were either incredibly brave or incredibly foolish. The transport entered Earth's atmosphere. Through the windows, the planet grew larger. Blue oceans, green forests, white clouds. It looked so alive, so vibrant. And according to everything they had been taught, so deadly. The pilot's voice came over the speakers. Approaching drop zone. Environmental readings confirm hostile conditions. Gravity at 1.4 standard. Atmospheric oxygen at dangerous levels. Temperature at 22 degrees, which is within the extreme range for most species. Local wildlife detected in the area, including large predators. The cadets sealed their suits. The powered exoskeletons hummed to life. Life support systems activated with a chorus of beeps in. Han and put on their minimal suits. No powered exoskeleton. No environmental controls. Just basic protection and communication equipment. Cadets, the pilot announced, you are cleared for deployment. May fortune favor you all. Remember, if you need extraction, just activate your beacon. There is no shame in survival. The transport doors opened and Earth's air rushed in. Fresh, clean, the smell of pine trees and earth. To 11 cadets, it was the smell of a death world. To 2 cadets, it was the smell of home. They jumped. The moment's boots touched Earth's soil, his suit screamed warnings. Red alerts flashed across his helmet display. The gravity compensators kicked into maximum power, whining with effort. He stood carefully, feeling the weight of Earth pressing down on him even through the powered exoskeleton. Gravity confirmed, he said over the communication channel, his voice strained. This is brutal. Kiva landed next to him, her suit's 6 legs automatically adjusting to distribute her weight. My suit is using 60% power just to keep me upright. If the battery fails, I won't be able to move. Suit landed with a heavy thump. Same here. The specifications said Earth's gravity was manageable with these suits, but they didn't mention it would be this exhausting. One by one, the 12 cadets landed in a forest clearing. Ancient trees surrounded them, towering hundreds of feet into the air. The ground was covered in soft moss and fallen leaves. Somewhere in the distance, a bird called out, its song echoing through the forest. Han landed lightly, bending his knees to absorb the impact. He stood up straight and stretched, rolling his shoulders. The suit made a soft hum, but nothing like the laboring sounds coming from the others. Landed beside him, equally relaxed. She took a deep breath through her helmet's air supply and smiled. "It's good to be back." Check called out, taking command naturally. "Sound off. Is everyone functional?" 11 voices confirmed they were alive. The 12th cadet, unnamed, activated his emergency beacon immediately. "I can't do this. My suit says my heart is working too hard. I'm out." A rescue drone appeared within minutes, lifting away. 11 cadets remained. "We need to establish a base camp," Kiva said, consulting her data pad. "According to the mission brief, we need to find water, shelter, and secure food sources within the first day." "There's a stream about half a kilometer north," reported, her suit's sensors scanning the area. "Water source confirmed." "Good," said. "We move together, stay alert. This forest contains apex predators." The group began moving through the forest. It should have been a simple walk, but for the alien cadets, it was an ordeal. Their suits compensated for the gravity, but that took power. Every step required conscious effort. Every movement felt heavy, sluggish. Han walked normally, keeping pace easily. They noticed the others struggling but said nothing. After 20 minutes, 2 more cadets activated their emergency beacons. The strain was too much. 9 cadets remained. They reached the stream as the sun climbed higher in the sky. The water was crystal clear, flowing over smooth stones. It looked beautiful and inviting. "Water source confirmed," Kiva said, her suit running analysis. "However, microbial content is extreme. This water contains thousands of bacterial species. We'll need to use the suit filtration systems. It will take approximately 30 minutes to process enough water for each person." Nodded. "Begin filtration. We'll set up a perimeter." Han walked to the stream's edge. He looked at the water, then at his companions in their sealed suits beginning the complex filtration process. He made a decision. He opened his helmet faceplate. "Cadet Han, what are you doing?" Kiva shouted. "The air is toxic. Close your helmet immediately." Han took a deep breath of Earth's air. It felt wonderful, filling his lungs with oxygen. "Feels fine to me." Before anyone could stop him, he knelt by the stream, cupped his hands, and drank directly from the water. "No," screamed. "That water is unfiltered. You'll be dead from infection within hours." Han drank again, then wiped his mouth. "Tastes clean. Better than the recycled water on the station, honestly." Opened her faceplate too, breathing deeply. "Oh, I missed this. Do you smell that? Pine trees." She joined Han by the stream, filling her canteen directly from the water and drinking. The other cadets watched in horror, waiting for the humans to collapse to show signs of the predicted infection. Nothing happened. Han drank their fill, refreshed and energized. Meanwhile, the other cadets waited for their suits to slowly, carefully filter the same water. "I don't understand," Kiva said quietly. "The analysis shows dangerous bacteria. How are you not sick?" "Maybe the analysis is wrong," Han suggested innocently. "The analysis is never wrong," Kiva insisted. "Unless," her mind worked through possibilities, "unless you have a natural immunity we don't know about." Just smiled and didn't answer. The group continued their mission, mapping the area and identifying potential shelter. By noon, Earth's temperature had risen to 25 degrees. For humans, it was a pleasant spring day. For the alien cadets in their sealed suits, it triggered thermal regulation systems, adding another drain on their power supplies. "How are you both not overheating?" asked, watching Han walk comfortably while his own suit worked hard to cool him down. "It's not that hot," Han said. "This is mild weather." Another cadet activated his beacon. The heat and gravity combination was too much. 8 remained. As afternoon arrived, they found a good location for camp near a rocky outcrop that would provide shelter. Assigned duties. Some cadets would gather firewood. Others would help construct basic shelters. Everyone would help prepare defenses against predators. Han volunteered to gather wood. He walked into the forest alone, despite warnings about danger. 15 minutes later, he returned carrying a massive fallen tree branch that must have weighed over 100 kilograms. He carried it on his shoulder, easily, in Earth's gravity, without powered assistance. Stared that weight. In this gravity, your suit must have military-grade power systems. Han set the branch down gently. "Actually, my suit doesn't have gravity compensation. This is just normal for me." "Normal?" Kiva's voice cracked. "That branch weighs more than I do, and you carried it like it was nothing." "I mean it was heavy," Han admitted, "but not that heavy." The alien cadets looked at each other. Pieces of a puzzle were starting to come together, but the picture they formed seemed impossible. As evening approached, the temperature began to drop. For the aliens, this was actually a relief. Their suits worked less hard to regulate temperature. They settled into their camp, setting up a perimeter of sensors that would warn them of approaching predators. Then the sun set completely, and the forest came alive with sounds. Howls echoed in the darkness, the movement of large animals through the underbrush, eyes reflected in the shadows, watching the camp. Warning alarms blared across every suit. Predator alert. Multiple large MAMMALSDETECTED. Class 9 threat level. Recommend immediate defensive posture. Powered up his suit's weapon systems. Kiva climbed onto a rock, her suit's 6 legs giving her stable elevation. Activated defensive shields. The other cadets huddled together, their suits forming a protective circle. Han stood outside the circle, looking into the darkness calmly. "You should get to safety," urged. "Those are apex predators, pack hunters. If they attack, your minimal suits won't protect you." "They're not going to attack," said softly. "How do you know that?" asked, her voice shaking. "Watch," Han said. From the darkness, shapes emerged. Wolves, 7 of them moving with coordinated precision. They were large, each one massing over 50 kilograms of muscle and teeth. Their eyes glowed in the reflected light from the suits. The pack approached cautiously. The alpha male led, sniffing the air. It circled the camp, studying these strange intruders in their metal shells. Then it approached Han. "Don't move," whispered urgently. "If you run, it will chase. If you fight, they'll all attack." "I'm not going to do either," Han said calmly. The wolf stopped 3 meters away, watching Han with intelligent eyes. Han slowly, carefully lowered himself to a crouch. He didn't make eye contact directly. That would be a challenge. Instead, he turned slightly sideways, presenting a non-threatening posture. The wolf stepped closer, then closer still. Han extended his hand slowly, palm down, fingers relaxed. The wolf sniffed his hand, processing the information it gathered. After a long moment, the wolf's tail moved slightly. Not quite a wag, but not aggressive either. The wolf allowed Han to touch its head briefly. Then it turned and led its pack away into the darkness, moving on to hunt actual prey. The alien cadets were silent, their suit sensors still blaring warnings about predators that were already gone. "What?" finally found his voice. "What just happened?" "The wolves weren't interested in us," explained. "We're not prey and we weren't threatening their territory. They were just checking us out." "How did you know it wouldn't attack?" Kiva demanded. "Body language," Han said. "Ears forward but not flat, tail neutral. Approach was curious, not aggressive. It's basic predator behavior. Basic, repeated. Those creatures can bite through ship hull plating. Only if they're threatened or hunting, said. We were neither. Kiva's analytical mind worked through what she had seen. The pieces were all there. The evidence was overwhelming. She looked at Han and really looked at them for the first time. You're not like us, she said slowly. You drink the water without filtration. You breathe the air without processing. You move normally in this gravity. The predators don't attack you. You understand this place. Han and waited. You're from here, Kiva breathed. You're human. The camp was silent after Kiva's revelation. The remaining cadets stared at Han and with a mixture of shock, fear, and awe. In the distance, night birds called to each other. The forest continued its ancient rhythms, uncaring about the drama unfolding among the visitors. Han looked at, she shrugged slightly. The secret was out. Yes, Han said simply, we're human. But humans are extinct, said, his voice uncertain. The plague after first contact, the reports said. The reports were wrong, interrupted gently. Or rather incomplete. The plague was devastating. We lost billions, but some of us survived. We went into hiding deep into Earth's wilderness where outsiders couldn't find us. We watched, we learned, and eventually some of us decided to rejoin the galaxy. Quietly. How many? Asked. Humans, Han considered. Maybe 2 billion worldwide. We're rebuilding slowly. Some stay on Earth. Some, like us, join galactic society. Why hide? Kiva's 6 arms gestured in confusion. Why not announce yourselves? Would you have treated us the same? Asked quietly. If you knew from the start that we came from the galaxy's most dangerous planet, that we evolved to survive conditions that would kill you, that we're naturally stronger, more resilient, more adapted to extreme environments than almost any other species. The silence answered her question. Exactly, Han said. We wanted to be judged as individuals, as cadets, as people, not as death world survivors, not as potential threats. A low rumble of thunder echoed across the sky. Dark clouds were rolling in, blocking the stars. The wind picked up, carrying the smell of rain. Suit sensors activated again. Warning, severe weather approaching. Electrical storm DETCTD. Recommend immediate shelter. The alien cadets rushed to secure their camp. They sealed their suits completely, preparing for what their sensors told them would be a catastrophic weather event. The storm hit within minutes. Lightning split the sky so bright it turned night into day. Thunder shook the ground like explosions. Rain fell in sheets, driven horizontal by powerful winds. Trees bent and swayed. The temperature dropped 10 degrees in seconds. Inside their sealed suits, the alien cadets huddled together. Their thermal regulators worked overtime. Their audio dampeners reduced the thunder to manageable levels. Their kinetic barriers protected them from debris. Han sat outside their shelter, faces turned up to the rain. You're unprotected, shouted over the storm. The water pH can burn your skin. The electrical discharge can kill you. Get inside your suits. Spread her arms wide, letting the rain wash over her. She was laughing. It's just rain. This is wonderful. Han tilted his head back, letting the water run down his face. We used to have storms like this all the time back in Seoul. This is actually a pretty mild thunderstorm. Mild? Kiva's voice was incredulous. My suit registers this as a Category 5 weather event. That's probably a tornado warning scale, Han explained. This isn't a tornado, it's just a regular spring storm. Lightning struck a tree 100 meters away. The crack was deafening. The tree split in half, crashing to the ground. The alien cadets flinched. Han didn't even blink. How are you both still alive? Finally asked, his voice filled with genuine wonder. Everything here should kill you. The gravity, the atmosphere, the predators, the weather, but you're fine. Better than fine, you're comfortable. This is home, Han said simply. We evolved here. The gravity made our bones dense and our muscles strong. The oxygen levels are exactly what our bodies need. The predators are animals we learn to understand and coexist with. The weather is just part of life. None of this is deadly to us because we're designed for it. Added, what you call a death world, we call home. What you see as impossible challenges, we see as normal conditions. Earth didn't make us weak, it made us strong. The storm continued for hours. By morning, 2 more cadets had activated their emergency beacons. The psychological strain of the storm, combined with the physical demands of Earth's environment, was too much. 6 cadets remained. As dawn broke, the storm clouds cleared. Sunlight filtered through the wet trees, creating rainbows in the mist. The forest smelled clean and fresh. Birds began their morning songs. It was beautiful. Han had slept outside during the storm, completely unbothered. They woke up refreshed, stretching in the morning light. The alien cadets emerged from their shelters, exhausted. Their suits had protected them, but the stress of maintaining constant vigilance against a hostile environment was wearing them down. "How much battery life do you have left?" Kiva asked the group. The answers were not good. Had 60%, had 55%. The others ranged from 40 to 60%. The suits were using power faster than anticipated because Earth was more demanding than the simulations predicted. At this rate, Kiva calculated, we won't make it the full 7 days. We'll run out of power by day 5, maybe 6. "We can ration," suggested. "Reduce non-essential systems, minimize movement." Or Han said, "You can start adapting." Adapting looked at him, "To Earth in 3 days. "You won't adapt fully," clarified, "but you can learn from us. You can learn to work with Earth instead of fighting against it." Over the next day, Han became teachers. They showed the alien cadets which plants were safe to touch. They demonstrated how to read weather patterns in the clouds. They explained animal behavior and how to move through the forest without triggering prey responses in predators. "Earth seems hostile because you're approaching it as an enemy," Han explained. "But it's just a planet. It has rules. Learn the rules, work with them, and survival becomes easier." They taught the cadets to drink from streams where the water ran fast over rocks, natural filtration. They showed them how to find shelter that worked with Earth's weather instead of trying to resist it. They demonstrated efficient movement in high gravity by using Earth's own terrain to assist rather than fighting every step. Most importantly, they taught them not to fear. "Fear wastes energy," said. "Earth's creatures can sense fear. They interpret it as vulnerability. If you're calm and confident, they'll leave you alone more often than not." On the 4th day, Han decided to prove his point. He removed his suit completely. The alien cadets watched in horror as Han stood in Earth's environment with nothing but basic clothing. No exoskeleton, no gravity compensation, no oxygen filtration, no protection at all. He was fine, more than fine. He looked completely at ease. "This is what we are," Han said, standing in the morning sunlight. "We evolved in this gravity. We breathe this air. We adapted to this planet over millions of years. Everything that makes Earth deadly to you makes us who we are." Joined him, removing her suit as well. She took a deep breath of unfiltered air and smiled. "The gravity made us strong. The predators made us smart. The weather made us resilient. The diseases made our immune systems incredible. Earth didn't try to kill us. It trained us." Looked at them through his helmet display. He was seeing them clearly for the first time. They were small compared to him, barely reaching his chest. But they stood straight in gravity that would crush him without his suit. They moved with easy grace while his every step required effort. They were relaxed while he was exhausted. "If this is your natural environment," said slowly, "what are you capable of in standard galactic conditions?" Han smiled. "Want to find out?" He picked up a large rock, roughly 50 kilograms. In Earth's gravity, with human strength adapted to that gravity, he lifted it easily overhead with both hands. In standard gravity, this would feel like it weighs about 35 kilograms. I could probably lift 3 times this much. He set it down and picked up Kiva's data pad. With a quick movement, he tossed it 30 meters to land gently on a moss patch. In standard gravity, I could throw that across a battlefield. My reaction time would seem faster because I wouldn't be fighting gravity. My endurance would be extraordinary because my heart wouldn't be working as hard. Added, our bone density is twice what most species need. Our muscle tissue is adapted to work in high gravity. Our cardiovascular system is built to push blood through a body working against this gravity. Put us in a standard environment and we become superhuman, Kiva finished quietly. That's the right word, isn't it? By galactic standards, you would be classified as a megafauna threat class. We prefer capable, Han said diplomatically. But yes, what Earth demanded of us to survive, we now carry with us everywhere we go. The revelation changed everything. The alien cadets stopped seeing Earth as an enemy to fight. They started seeing it as a teacher. They couldn't fully adapt in the remaining days, but they learned to be smarter about energy conservation. They followed Han and's advice about safe water sources, efficient movement, and predator avoidance. Most importantly, they stopped being afraid. By day 6, something remarkable happened. Opened his faceplate for the first time, breathing Earth's air in small doses while his suit monitored his oxygen levels. It was difficult, and he couldn't sustain it for long, but he did it. "This is what you breathe?" he asked, gasping slightly. "It's so intense." "Too much oxygen for you," said, "but you're adapting, that's good." On the final morning, all 6 remaining cadets stood at the extraction point. They had survived 7 days on Earth. Not perfectly, not easily, but they had survived. Han and stood with them, having never activated their emergency beacons, having never struggled, having shown everyone what it meant to be born on a death world. The transport ship rose from Earth's surface, carrying 6 cadets who had survived the impossible. Through the windows, the planet grew smaller, the forests where they had struggled, the streams they had learned to drink from, the sky that had unleashed storms upon them. Earth looked peaceful from orbit, beautiful and serene. But now they knew the truth. That beauty was built on strength. That serenity was earned through adaptation. And walking among them were 2 beings who called that world home. The Academy erupted when they returned. Word spread quickly. Humans were alive. Humans were among them. 2 cadets had not only survived Earth, they had thrived there while others struggled to stay alive. Han and became instant celebrities, though they both hated the attention. Other cadets stared at them in hallways. Some looked afraid, others looked impressed. A few looked angry, feeling they had been deceived. Commander X called them to his office 3 days after their return. Jin was there too, no longer pretending to be just an equipment master. He stood straight, wearing the insignia of a senior officer. "Captain Jin Woo," X introduced him properly. "He's been watching over human cadets for years." Jin nodded to Han and, "There are 43 human cadets currently enrolled in the Academy. Most keep their origins quiet. You 2 just made that impossible." "I'm sorry," Han started, but Jin held up a hand. "Don't be, it was time. The secret was always going to come out eventually. Better to do it spectacularly than to have it leak slowly." X leaned back in his chair, all 4 arms folded. "You've created quite a situation. Half the Academy is demanding that humans be separated into special classes. They think you have an unfair advantage. The other half is demanding to train with humans, believing you can teach them something valuable." "What do you think, Commander?" asked. "I think," X said slowly, "that I was wrong. When I gave that lecture about Earth being unsurvivable, I was working from incomplete data. I knew only about the planet. I didn't truly understand the species that evolved there." He pulled up Han and's performance records. You both scored average in most subjects. Good but not exceptional. Now I understand why. You were holding back, trying not to stand out. But on Earth, when you had no reason to hide, your true capabilities showed. The records displayed their Earth performance. Navigation through terrain that would cripple other species. Strength demonstrations that exceeded safety limits. Endurance that lasted days without rest. Environmental adaptation that seemed miraculous. In standard galactic conditions, X continued, these capabilities would be. Cadet Han, we ran simulations. In standard gravity, your carrying capacity would be classified as light vehicle class. Your reaction time would be faster than our targeting computers. Your endurance would allow you to operate for days without sleep. That seems excessive, Han said quietly. It's accurate, Jinwoo confirmed. I've been human for 62 years. I know what we're capable of when we stop hiding it. Commandant In entered the office, his crystalline form shimmering. The Galactic Council wants answers. They want to know how many humans survived, where you are, what you're planning. We're not planning anything, said. We're just trying to live. I know, In said gently. But you must understand, humanity represents something new. A species from a death world that not only survived but potentially surpasses most galactic species in physical capability. Some council members are afraid of that. Should they be? X asked seriously. Han thought about this carefully. Humans are strong because we had to be. Earth gave us no choice, adapt or die. But that same environment taught us to work together, to solve problems, to never give up. We're not warriors by choice. We're survivors by necessity. Earth made us tough, added, but it also made us empathetic. When you've struggled to survive every single day, you understand struggle. You help others who are struggling. That's why we helped the other cadets on Earth, not to show off, because we understood what they were facing. In smiled, his crystalline face reflecting rainbow light. That's exactly what I hoped you would say. The galaxy doesn't need more warriors. It needs more survivors, more teachers, more beings who understand how to overcome impossible odds. He pulled up a galactic map. There are hundreds of colony worlds that are struggling. They're not death worlds, but they're challenging, harsh climates, difficult terrain, dangerous wildlife. Most species need extensive infrastructure just to survive there, but humans could walk in and feel at home, Jinwoo finished. I've been advocating for this for years. Let humans help settle frontier worlds. We're naturally suited for it. There's more, In continued. The Academy wants to update its survival training. We want human instructors teaching alongside our current staff, teaching adaptation, resilience, and how to work with hostile environments instead of against them. X looked at Han and, I want you both to co-teach the Death World lecture next semester. Show the cadets that survival is about more than equipment and technology. It's about understanding, adapting, and respecting the environment you're in. You want us to be teachers? Han asked. I want you to be yourselves, X said. Stop hiding what you are. Let others learn from you. Over the next months, things changed at the Academy. Han and did co-teach the survival course. The Death World lecture was different now. Instead of Commander X listing all the ways Earth could kill you, Han and explained how Earth shaped humanity. They showed videos of Earth, not the disasters and predators but the beauty, mountains and oceans, forests and deserts, storm and sunshine. They explained how each challenge taught humanity something valuable. The gravity made us strong, Han would explain, but it also taught us to build smart, to use leverage and tools, to work together because one person alone can only lift so much. Would add, the predators made us alert, but they also taught us ecology. We learned that everything is connected, that balance is important, that intelligence beats force. Other human cadets slowly revealed themselves, more enrolled each semester. The Academy established a human culture club, Jin Wu became the official liaison for human affairs, became one of the first aliens to request cross-training with human instructors. On Earth, I learned my limitations, he admitted, but I also learned that limitations can be overcome with the right mindset. I want to learn that mindset. Kiva wrote her thesis on human adaptive biology. It became required reading for xenobiology students. She concluded that humanity represented an important case study in evolutionary resilience. Became a scout specializing in hostile environment reconnaissance. She often requested human teammates, appreciating their natural abilities in dangerous terrain. Han graduated top of his class, as he would have from the beginning if he hadn't been hiding. His final thesis was titled Environmental Adaptation and Human Resilience, Lessons for Galactic Survival Training. It changed how the Academy taught survival courses. Was assigned to the Frontier Corps with the rank of lieutenant. Her first mission was establishing a colony on a challenging world with high gravity and aggressive wildlife. She led a mixed team of humans and aliens, teaching both groups to learn from each other. On graduation day, Han stood at the podium to give the class speech. The auditorium was packed with cadets from hundreds of species. Some were his classmates. Some were younger students who had heard stories about the humans who survived Earth. 3 years ago, Han began, I sat in this auditorium and listened to a lecture about death worlds. I learned that Earth was impossible to survive, that my home planet was the most dangerous place in known space, that my entire species was extinct. Some cadets laughed softly at this. Everyone knew the story now. But I also learned something important that day, Han continued. I learned that perspective matters. What seems impossible to one species is normal to another. What seems deadly to one is home to another. Earth isn't a death world to humans, it's just Earth, our planet, our home. He paused, looking out at the diverse crowd. The Academy taught us about survival, but I think the most important lesson isn't how to survive hostile environments. It's how to survive together, how to learn from each other, how to see challenges as opportunities instead of threats. Stood beside him. Together, they looked out at the future of the galactic community. We're human, said. We come from a world you fear, but we're not here to frighten you. We're here to help. Because Earth taught us the most important lesson of all, survival is better together. The applause was thunderous. In the front row, Commander X stood, his 4 arms raised in salute. Commandant N's crystalline form glowed brighter with approval. Captain Jin Wu smiled, proud of what these 2 young humans had accomplished. 6 months later, the Academy updated its recruitment materials. Now, along with images of diverse alien species, there were humans, strong, capable, no longer hiding. The Death World lecture remained part of the curriculum, but now it was taught by Commander X and Lieutenant Han together. They showed Earth's challenges, but they also showed Earth's beauty. They taught that hostile environments create strong survivors, that challenges can be teachers, that fear can become respect. And every semester, when X asked if anyone in the class was from Earth, hands would rise. Sometimes 1, sometimes 10. Human cadets no longer hiding their origins. The galaxy had called Earth a death world, a place impossible to survive. They had declared humans extinct, believing no one could live through such harsh conditions. They were wrong on both counts. Humans had survived. Humans had adapted. Humans had learned from the hardest teacher in the galaxy. And now, humans were ready to teach others what they had learned. The cadets who once thought Earth was the most terrifying place in existence now understood a different truth. Earth wasn't a death world. It was a training ground, and the beings it produced weren't threats. They were exactly what the galaxy needed. Survivors, teachers, friends. Humans.